We are back, ladies and gentlemen, to the F2 career mode. It's been a while, but let's try to keep this series a little bit more consistent, you know. Welcome to another video, guys. My name's Tom, and today is time for the 4th round of my F2 2020 career mode as Robert Shwartzman. Seeing some highlights from the previous episode, I highly recommend to go check it out. It was for the Spanish Grand Prix, but today is time for one of the jewels of the calendar, the Monaco Grand Prix, and with a very nice lead on the championship standings, 21 points ahead of our nearest rival, Nobuharu Matsushita. But here we are, Monaco. Really love this track, very challenging, so I'm really looking forward to see what we can do at the streets of the Principality. Here we are in practice, just getting used a little bit to the cars. It's been a while since I drove the F2 cars, and make sure to smash like, crash, and do see plenty more Formula 1 content as we climb our way to the 1K subscriber. We're getting really close. Thanks for the 900 subscribers. You guys are absolutely insane. The support that you guys are giving in this channel lately is I have no words for the support that you guys are giving lately. It is really good and really motivates me to create more and more and better content. I know that you guys love the F2 career mode, so here it is back on the channel. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent, so apologies if you're expecting a brand new video every single week with the F2 cars. I'm trying to balance the F1 and the F2 career mode at the same time. I want to bring more things to the channel, but at the moment it's really hard with university. The exams are basically, I'm in the first semester exams at the moment, so these last few weeks have been really challenging in order to bring you you know, consistent content. But anyway, stop talking about my YouTube life. We're going to focus on the Monaco Grand Prix. You could see some footage of the practice session, getting used to the track. We were 12 fastest, but it's time for qualifying. This qualifying, if you're not familiarized with F2, if you don't watch F2, first of all, go watch it. It's the best thing in the world. Can be so much better than Formula 1. But anyway, if you're not familiarized with F2, qualifying is not with the all 22 cars on the track due to the traffic. You know, to get a better lap. It's divided in 2 groups, and each group has 11 cars. So like I always like to do, I always like to do everyone their first laps, and then in the closing minutes I'm going to do my lap, because we just have one set of the softest comparative tire for this qualifying. And I always like to save the better for the end, you know. And the track is more rubber in, and this is the best stage of qualifying to set a lap. So here we go through the first corner. You have to be really patient with these cars. This car can show to be really hard to drive, but trust me, you learn a lot by driving these cars. You drive better the F1 cars. He really made me a better driver. Through Rascas we go really close to the wall. It's very important that you do use every single bit of the track, a little bit of oversteer through the final corner, open the DRS. What this lap is going to put us at the moment, it is just B11, last of the runners, of the current runners. So we really need to put a very good lap as we're improving as we go through the final, through the first corner, as we go now through the final corner. So commentary is not being really good today, but anyway, going purple on the first sector, across the line, and it is just B9. So making good gains, not risking at the moment in these first 2 laps, because I don't want to risk a bleed of my front wing. The tire wear is not that high, so I can afford some more laps, you know, some more attempts. At least in this qualifying session. We'll see how the tire wear is going to be in the race, but now we did a 1 of 20.8. It is just enough to put us in P7, but now this was my best lap. Where it's going to put us, we'll see. The final couple of corners, it's been a great lap, a lot of understeer through the last corner. This is not great, and we're going to lose a tenth of a second across the line. And what is going to mean for the start of the feature race is going to be P2. P2, but is going to be first place on our group. You can see that we went to the fastest in the Group A, but Matsushita is the one that is going to take pole position at the start of this Monaco Grand Prix. So we have a race in our hands because we have our closest rival in the championship standings starting on pole position. You can see our teammate Mick Schumacher with a not very good qualifying, so maybe it's going to be just maybe more about me and Matsushita during this weekend. We'll see, because now it's time for the Monaco Grand Prix, the feature race. Let's go.
Welcome to one of, if not the most iconic race circuit in Formula 2. A track with absolutely no room for error, a track that requires every bit of skill these young drivers can muster. We're getting ready for lights out here in Monte Carlo. The Circuit de Monaco is, for all practical purposes, pretty much unchanged since its 1929 introduction. It's strange to consider that this 2.1-mile lap will take the drivers here around almost an entire country. 19 corners, but not that many opportunities for overtaking. Instead, this is a track that rewards technical skill. I'm Alex Jakes, and I'm joined once again by the GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. Davide, today's race takes place on one of the most infamous street circuits in motorsports. What is it about this track that makes it stand out?
Alex, I'm very happy to be here. Monaco is a short track, but the wall is just after the white line. The drivers need to stay aware from the line and from the wall. And it's so important to start in the first two rows if you want to compete for the victory.
We are nearly ready for the start of today's race, but in the meantime, let's take a look at the grid. An immense lap from Nobuharu Matsushita yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Robert Shwartzman in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Lundgaard, Tsunoda, Jehan Daruvala, and Dragovic, Ticktum, Armstrong, Piquet, Marino Sato, Aylott, Aitken, Mick Schumacher, and Joe Mazepin, Giotto, Samaya, and Giuliano Alesi, Markelon, and Sean Galeo, Nissani, and Louis Delatraz starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Here we are on the track, guys, ready to start off the Monaco Grand Prix. Make sure to smash like, subscribe, and feel the team of Formula 1 and Formula 2 content really motivates me to make more. But anyway, starting in P2, pole position, Matsushita, our nearest rival in the championship. And Sachiwai is going to be a soft and then switch to the super soft tires. So it is a kind of an alternate strategy. Generally, you start on the softest comparative tire, which is not going to be the case for this feature race because everyone is in the same strategy. I'm not going to risk that much. And here we go for the feature race at the streets of the Principality. 5 red lights and it's lights out, and away we go. The lights took a little bit of an age, but it's a great start for Matsushita that really shoots up of his pole grid slots as we're going side by side with Christian Lundgaard. It was a very poor start from us, and we're trying to keep this P2, try to cover the line to the AIT, but going really wide, and that is going to give a chance for the AIT to try to go run inside. And look at the gap that Matsushita already has. So definitely we are struggling in these first few corners of this feature race, and there is Matsushita already 2 seconds ahead, followed by myself and then the 2 Carlins of Jehan Daruvala and what is the other Carlin? I forgot. Okay, I forgot what was the other Carlin, so great F2 knowledge as I'm trying to remember the other Carlin drive. But anyway, we are still in P2, and there he is Yuki Tsunoda. I was forgetting his name. Wow, I forgot a name like Tsunoda that is coming to F1 this season. But anyway, a big snap over steer as we are at the exit of the Nouvelle chicane. And we are struggling a little bit, and you can see that Matsushita is already 2.5 seconds ahead. So we need to do something as we have a lot of understeer, and we are forced to cut the corner through the swimming pool chicane as we go now through the final corner, and we finally finish the first lap. A lot of understeer. We need to be really careful, because if you're not careful with these tires, your rears are going to be absolutely toasted. So lap 3, we already managed to break the DRS window over Christian Lundgaard, and now we have a mission that is trying to get close to Matsushita, with not being an easy task at the moment. He's setting fast laps after fastest lap. It is with a biblical pace at the moment. We're setting personal best, so I'm starting to be a little bit more calm. I think I was a little bit nervous at the start of the race, because you never know what the car is like with a heavy fuel and with the hardest comparative tire. You have a little bit of a feeling on practice, but it is a different feeling when you're during the race and when you're under pressure of the guys behind you, and when you're trying to catch a race leader, which is my case at the moment. We are maintaining a gap over Matsushita. Maybe I'm thinking maybe doing something with the strategy if we don't do that much gains on the MP Motorsport. We are pulling away of Christian Lundgaard, and on lap 6 like you can see that Matsushita already gaining a little bit of more time, so definitely Matsushita is the fastest one, but we are fastest than Christian Lundgaard, but we skip a little bit forward on lap 8 and we started to get closer and closer to Matsushita. So what I've been doing is that I'm not pushing that much, and I'm trying to see that whose tires are going to fall, you know, the quickest. Are going to be mine, are going to be Matsushita's. At the moment the tire wear is in the 40-odd%. It could be a little bit better as I'm locking up like crazy through Raskas, and that shows that the tires are starting to fade away a little bit, starting lap 13, and we are 1.5 seconds up, and I decided that I'm going to pit a lap earlier and try to do something with the strategy and try to get a little bit closer to Matsushita, but in contrast we might have some traffic once we do a stop, so I'm willing to risk a little bit. We have a bit of a safe gap of Lundgaard, so maybe we don't have nothing to lose. If we lose the time with the traffic, we're going to still remain in P2 and behind Matsushita. So like I was saying, it is just a question of nothing to lose. But here we go, we're going to fit a fresh set of super soft tires, and we're going to try to not lose time with these guys that are staying longer, and the guys that are definitely much slower than us when it comes to road pace. So we're going to be like 3 or 4 seconds faster per lap. I want to risk, but anyway, we're going to exit the pits, and we have a bit of a snap of oversteers. I'm trying to warm up the tires. No time blankets in this sport, remember. Around the outside goes Guan Yu Show on the UNI Virtuosi, and for the time being we are down into P15 ahead of Nikita Mazepin. So it's been a very poor weekend at the moment for the Russian. He had a pretty consistent first 3 rounds of this career mode, but really close to the UNI Virtuosi. And are we going to dare to go down inside for Miro? Yes, we're going to dare that, and there you go, we are up into P14 with a nice move on Guan Yu Zhou. So just to see how confident we are and how much faster we are in this set of super soft tires, and now getting closer to the high tech of Luca Ghiotto. I was forgetting the team, so I'm forgetting a lot of things in this episode, but you can see that I have to wait a little bit. I tried to make a little bit of a switch back on Ghiotto, but now we're going to have a little bit of DRS, but he has DRS as he's trying to gain on Mick Schumacher, and he covers the line pretty briefly, but somehow I find a gap around the outside, and it is a drag race as we go up, but it's going to be really hard to keep this position because we're with a high downforce setup. So this car is going to have a speed of the track when it comes to the straight line speed comparing with these guys, but it's going to be a Mercedes when it comes to cornering thanks to the fresh set of tires. And up into P13 we are, and now we have ahead of us our teammate Mick Schumacher way down the hill, struggling a lot during this weekend, and that is going to mean huge things when it comes to the championship, because Schumacher is struggling, and definitely as the things are going at the moment, he's going to score no points in this race as we're going purple on the second sector. So you can see that in clear air we're definitely much faster, and I have a feeling that we're going to get closer to Matsushita, trying to go run inside of our teammate, but he was pulling into the pits, and we press on. But in this lap Matsushita is pitting and he is exiting the pit, so this is going to be really close, as Matsushita is going to have a poor run because he is in a different line, and we can have a good run as I'm trying, but Matsushita covers the line. It is an epic step for the race lead between 2 championship rivals, warning because apparently we made contact with Matsushita, but I tried to thread the needle, but it wasn't enough. And there he is, Matsushita still in the league, but very close stuff between me and the Japanese. That was very close to end up in tears, and we have to remain behind the Japanese that has a very poor run on the low ZEP, because these tires are at the moment should be a little bit freezing cold because there's no tire blankets. But as the lap's gone by, lap 17, I'm trying to keeping up with him, try to keeping with the DRS range, but at the moment it seems that he's pulling away a little bit as well. Yellow flags are flashing. It seems that someone is out of the way, so maybe are we going to get a safety car? I don't know, because it would be really come handy, because Matsushita at the moment seems to be pulling away Honda Ruvala that is out of the race, and someone hurt me because the safety car has been deployed. And here is the reason. Honda Ruvala, I think already had a retirement during this season, so the Carling driver with that much luck, and this feature race at Monaco comes to an early end. But there is the standings. It is Matsushita leading, followed by myself as Shwartzman, and then it is Christine Lundgaard with a very good podium at the moment in that ART. So this is the plan. It's going to be like a free dash 2-lap sprint till the end of the race, because we are just in the closing stage. So it's going to be now or never. We need to make the move as soon as possible on Matsushita, because he seems to be really fast at the moment. The safety car is coming in, and we are ready to the restart of this Grand Prix as we're going side by side through Raskas. But it's been a very poor run because I was on third gear. I got a little bit distracted. I thought I was on second, but no, I was on third gear, and that really broke our momentum. So Matsushita is pulling away a lot through the first corner, already exiting the first corner as we hit just the apex. And now I'm trying to push as hard as we can, as we are on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. So what we need to do is try to get closer and closer to Matsushita, but we are already outside of the TRS range, so the opportunities definitely are starting to running out, and I'm starting a little bit desperate because I really want to win this race. Remember that in the Mahavira Gunnatan career mode that we did on F1 2019, we won the race as the Lord himself, so I really wanted to do that. But this time as Robert Shwartzman, as we're going through the final time through the Novo chicane, as I lock the rears, but I managed to save the car that was really close to make a spin and put my chances of getting a podium to an end. But here we go through to back for a final time, through the swimming pool chicane for a final time, and the opportunities are starting to run out. But Matsushita getting a little bit slow through the swimming pool chicane. So what I'm going to try to do is try to make a switch back. No, we're going to try to keep the line, but Matsushita going really slow, and we're going to try to go down inside through the last corner, but it's not enough, and it's going to be P2 as I gave everything to get this race win, but unfortunately it's not enough, and Matsushita wins the race. Wow.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So after a day of mixed fortunes up and down the field, we bring today's race to a close. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
The safety car made a big difference today, there's no doubt about it. I can't be certain, but it would have been a very different race and probably podium too without it. What I do know is that they came out of that situation in a favorable position. The safety car really does alter the balance of the race.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be MP Motorsport picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Wow, just wow. I tried everything to go down inside. I could have gone down inside, but the X-Battle was going to happen, which it was. Both of us were going to make contact. Probably we were going to get a DNF, and Lundgaard was going to be gifted the win. But you can see the replay, that was so close. But yeah, I tried. It was the last corner. But yeah, there is confirmation results. It was a bonkers of a race. I tried everything, but Matsushita, leader from start to finish. He just needed the first lap to get the Grand Slam. It was for Felipe Drugovich, but championship standings, Matsushita got really close now, and you can see that overall at the moment this weekend is getting 11 points, and you can see that now it is just 10 points away of getting the lead of this championship. So things are starting to get really hot at the moment, and the team standings, we are still in first place. So now we're going to the sprint race, and I can tell you that it's not going to be an easy one, and you're going to see why now.
And we're back. After yesterday's feature race, the top 8 drivers have been reversed on the grid, setting up some exciting action as we launch into today's event, the sprint race. Joining me for the race today, I'm delighted to welcome back to the commentary box the 2012 GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. Davide, it's great to have you with us for today's race. Any tips for our drivers out on the track today?
It's a real pleasure to be here, Alex. We are in for a spectacular day in Formula 2. My advice is to stay calm, look after the car, look after the tires, but don't be afraid to push when you see an opportunity. Using the DRS on some of those long straights will be crucial for the driver looking to make a challenge.
Oh no, it's raining at Monaco. This is not good. Oh, I'm not prepared for this. And it's going to get dry, so probably going to fit the dry tires at the end of the Grand Prix. It's going to be really tricky this race because we're going to have some strategy in the sprint race. This is not very common to happen in the Formula 2 Championship, but here we go for the sprint race, the final race. Pedro Piquet starting in pole position in heavy rain conditions, and it slides out and away we go. It's been a good start in these very tricky conditions. Really impressed with myself as we go down inside of Christian Lundgaard into the first corner, and we are already up into P6, but it's going to be just a question of guessing the braking zone, the traction zones, because I'm not prepared for these conditions. I wasn't expecting to be raining in the sprint race as I'm trying to follow closely the other ART of Marcus Armstrong, and now it's going to be a very harsh race for me because the AI is already used to these conditions. I'm not, as I'm trying now. I'm going to try to go run outside of Marcus Armstrong, but it confirms his defense to maybe an overtaking attempt on Felipe Drugovich on the MP Motorsport, but it is not enough and he has to sit behind P5. But it's been a good start and I'm really impressed considering the conditions that we have at the moment, as everyone is bunched up, and I'm expecting to be not an easy race, not just for me but for the AI as well, because it's already hard to overtake in dry conditions, just had to heavy rain to that, and it's going to be an absolutely you need to be really good, really confident in order to overtake in these very tricky conditions. As we go through the Novo chicane, and we actually I didn't lock, but for sure that I was going to lock the rears if I was still slamming on the brakes, and we received a warning for corner cutting, but at least we're still in P6 as we skip for a little bit to the end of the lap through the final corner, and who's leading at the moment is still Pedro Piquet, and if things stay like this I don't think we're not going to see any moves, and maybe it can be a very boring race and it's just a question of bringing it on. But anyway, we're going to try to press on as I have a little bit of a stank slapper through the first corner. We touched the barrier with a rear tire, and that is going to allow Christian Lundgaard to go through, and we are back to our starting position in P7. So I tried to push in this early stage, but it wasn't enough, and there is your race leader Pedro Piquet in the Cherouse, followed by Dan Ticknam, if I am not wrong. I just need to see the number. Yes, it is the number 2, Dan Ticknam. So Pedro Piquet, it's been in a really good shape since the last episode of Spanish Grand Prix. Pedro Piquet seems to be in a great shape at the moment. But anyway, we're going to try to re-overtake Christian Lundgaard at the moment with a fast lap of the Grand Prix, with a very slow run through the Rascas, and we're going to try to go run outside, try to go on inside through the first corner, but it doesn't want to give that space, and now we're going side by side for the start finish straight, a little bit of a wheel spinning, still in 4th gear, and that is going to allow Nobuharu Matsushita to go down inside at the first corner, and are going to try to hold around the outside, but thankfully we do that. But we're going to watch the replay because Lundgaard was so slow, and we actually touched his gearbox, but he didn't really want to give the space, and you can see how much distance that Matsushita gained to us, how much time that he gained to us, and you can see that and then I lost a bit the back end. I had a wheel spin in 4th gear just to see how tricky these conditions are at the moment. He went on the inside, but yeah, he stepped on that curb, and the curbs are in the wet, independently of the track that you are absolutely soaked. So there was no way that he was going to get that by going down inside. But we have some yellow flags, so maybe we're going to have another retirement. You can see that someone is pulling, and I think, yes, it is Marcus Armstrong that is out of the Grand Prix, and we have a virtual safety car, and it was just ahead of us, and he's pulling into the escape road at Mirabel, doing a Rosberg 2014, and the sprint race comes to an early end. Was striking for a nice point scoring position as we have a little bit of oversteer through the start finish race, so definitely the conditions are really hard at the moment. Matsushita maybe is going to dive down inside. He's off, he lost the control of the car. Matsushita is out of the race with a spectacular crash, and I want to, maybe I don't know, but that was a spectacular crash from the Japanese, and I was really scared when I was doing this race, and you're going to see the replay to see what happened, and there was no contact whatsoever. He just lost his car on its own, he hit the wall, and that is a spectacular crash. He made a mistake, he cracked in these very tricky conditions. Wow, that is a spectacular crash. I've never seen someone crashing like this at Monaco in my whole F1 game experience, and wow, that was absolutely insane, and that was a big smash into the SAINTE DEVOTE. And you're going to see that I don't know, it was a very strange incident. It looks like maybe a suspension failure, because it just lost the car maybe on its own on the straight line speed, on the straight line I should say, on the start finish straight. So maybe it was just a similar incident like it was with Jolyon Palmer, remember, in the 2016 Monaco Grand Prix, where he stepped on the zebra crossing, and it just lost the control of the car. So maybe I want to say that is that a shock realistically, but yeah, Matsushita is out of the race with a spectacular crash, and he's not going to score points this race. So it's going to be really important for our championship standing chances. But we skip all the way forward to lap 9, and you can see that I'm struggling so much, and the tire wear is around 70%, I can tell you already. So I decided to risk, because the track is starting to get drier and drier, and I'm going to risk, and I'm going to pit a little bit earlier than it should be, and fit already the soft compound after, I should say. And we're going to try to see if the strategy is going to work, and if it works, it's going to pay big dividends. But you can see that we were so far of Christian Lundgaard. It was like 13 seconds ahead, and that was starting to form a huge strain. So I decided to pit. I had nothing to lose. I was on the points, yes, but I was really getting closer to, you know, getting a puncture, and that would be race pretty much over for us. But you can see so much in this. I received a warning for crossing the pit lane line. Because the tires are not, these first few corners, this first lap, this out lap is going to be an absolute nightmare, because there's still some water on the track, there's no tire blankets, so it's going to be quite a challenge to put some tire in these soft tires. But once they get temperature, it's going to be absolutely even. But anyway, this is Artem Markelov is still on the sauce, but now here comes the glitch that we have in these sprint races, where some drivers do stupid things, and they do like 3 to 4 stops in the sprint race, and I think is a problem that should be fixed in the game, because it makes things so silly in the sprint race. So you can see that we have Marino Sato, 51 seconds behind. You can see that I'm starting to set personal best and fastest laps, because now it's definitely time for the soft comparative tires, and it's getting drier and drier, and we have Sean Galeel ahead, stuck on the wet comparative tires, and decided to stay one more lap as we're overtaking one of the Campos that is one lap down thanks to those stupid stretches. As we're getting closer and closer to one of the high-tech that is still in those stupid stretches, and open the DRS, and it's a very confusing race at the moment, because we are lapping cars, and it seems that at the moment we find ourselves in P6, 1.2 seconds behind Christian Lundgaard, and a few laps later we were just 14 seconds, so definitely the strategy really paid off, but we still remain in P6. But you can see that we gained buckets of time, so now with just 2 laps to go, it's just bring it home, and there he is, your race winner. Pedro Piquet wins his first F2 race of the season, as we are already on the laps last, setting personal bests, and is not going to be enough to get us the fastest lap, but we minimize the damage, and I can tell you, if I stayed a little bit more on those wet tires, that will be a certain puncture in one of the rears, because the tire wear goes really high. So we minimize the damage and we score points.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Brilliant stuff from Charouz today. What a superb victory. Davide, what do you think made the difference here?
I think this race was won thanks to the tire management. You have to remember, it's not just about going as fast as you can, it's about consistency. It's about maintaining your speed over an entire race distance. So being able to keep the lap time competitive while still respecting the tires, that's where they won today.
Looks like they're on their way out onto the podium now, and what a result this is. And a popular one with the crowd as well. Great stuff to see the Charouz team on top here today.
Monaco is already hard, add that to rainy conditions. If you win the race, you're an absolute pro. It is the case for Pedro Piquet, leading from start to finish, followed by Dan Tiektem, and then the calling of Yuki Tsunoda. For us, it was a very good race, it could have been better, and yeah, I was a little bit impatient, didn't treat well the tires, but give me an excuse, it was my first time, I wasn't expecting to be rainy conditions for this race, so considering that I was getting into the unknown, getting 4 points at the end of the race was a pretty good result, and a spectacular crash from Nobuharu Matsushita. I was very surprised, and I got a little bit scared because I thought I was getting T-bone wiped off, and that would be race pretty much over for me. But championship standings, points. We extend a little bit our lead over Matsushita, but overall he scored the most points, and he's getting closer and closer. And then the gap to P3 of Jack Aitken, it is 67 points. So definitely we have 2 leagues here. It is my league and Matsushita's, and then we have the other ones, and they are really far. But hopefully they are going to start to get closer and closer, and we can have maybe a 3, 4, 5-way fight for the championship. But guys, that has been episode 4 of my F2 2020 career mode as Robert Shwartzman. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to smash like, scratch if you do see plenty more Formula 1 and F2 content as we climb our way to the 1K subscribers. So let's try to get ASAP. But I'll see you guys for brand new next time. But for now, take care.